All right, just to reiterate what I'm about to do, I'm just gonna cover this whole, this is an underpainting in burnt umber acrylic paint. I didn't even hardly use any white. So the white you're seeing is just the gesso basically. And I'm just mixing a transparent Indian yellow and a transparent earth yellow together. And I'm just gonna, oh, isn't that beautiful? And I'm just gonna try to make a moody kind of tonalist image here using just a couple, a pretty limited palette. Indian yellow, quinacridone red, ultramarine blue, and like I said, a transparent earth yellow and titanium white. And this could very well still end up being just, you know, what I would consider another stage in making an underpainting, which is most likely the case. But I like that color.
I do too.
Beautiful.
Looks nice.
I want to see what it looks like when it gets wiped back a little.
Exactly. Yeah. It'll be a little brown, muddy, I hope.
It's a little softer than the Indian yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'll put a spot where I just put Indian yellow up in the corner. And just so you can see the vibrancy that Indian yellow would be.
Yeah. Wow.
You can see that difference of the earthy yellow.
And that's Gamblin Golden Ochre?
No, this is the Gamblin's transparent earth yellow.
Okay.
Which would be in the same family as the transparent earth red or like an oxide red.
Yeah, I think the acrylic one is called transparent yellow oxide.
Yeah, perfect. That would be exactly right. Yeah. So I did add some paint thinner to that to help it spread around. And I'm kind of hoping that my gesso and my acrylics, which have been dried now for at least a week, are going to let that color kind of stain in a little bit. Move it up a little bit. There we go. You're still not seeing the whole surface, but there's not too much left.
We see most of it, I think.
A glare from my window behind me, which I can go shut here in a little bit if I need to. So I'm letting this, again, stain. That's what I like about transparent colors, is as far as I can tell, they stain pretty well. Shut some blinds. There we go. That helps the glare. And I'm just going to kind of brush that in a little bit. And it's pretty slippery. Again, there's quite a bit of paint thinner in there. And this is a painting done on top of another old painting that I had sanded down. And luckily it was acrylics. So I was able to use a gesso on top. And go ahead. If anybody's
I saw something the other day, and the guy doesn't gesso over top of him. He just paints and lets those background colors show through.
Yeah, and that is a lot of fun to do. I call it the ghosts of painting past.
Yeah.
And that can be a lot of fun to have those showing through and stuff. But a lot of times if I just really don't know, you're still wrestling with those under things. You know, sometimes they're wonderful and other times they really just kind of get in your way. Sometimes you have big, thick brush strokes, you know, that you've covered that you can still see the brush stroke, but it's not adding, it's in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The texture of it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to add some colors, just see. So this is a bit of quinacridone red mixed in with some of these colors. I'm just putting that on my horizon line. maybe I think my sun is gonna be kind of here behind these branches, so I can kind of come down. Sun's kind of here, so maybe point at it, little counter lines to this tree. Counter lines, just trying to, you know, and again, right now I'm just being very organic. I'm just kind of responding. I'll be able to move some of this around. I hope. It's always, I hope. I would like to think that I have a system that I follow that really works. And I know that that would make everything a lot easier, but the ADHD and the experimentation side of me just loves playing and seeing what happens at happy accidents. But it's just like Linda fixing the purple on her computer screen. You know, it's like, how did you fix it? How did you make that painting? I'm not exactly positive.
If the purple comes back, we should all duck.
That's kind of fun. Kind of shows where I think I want to light a little bit. I'm going to see if I can tighten my panel down one more time. It's moving a lot when I brush it. There we go. Nope. Let's let that sit a minute or two. Yeah.
The part, well, I'm pointing, that's not gonna help, where you left, you didn't put the red in the back. Yeah, is that gonna be a highlighted area? Or-
Yeah. So again, I want my sun here. I'll just mark it for us.
That's the sun. Yeah. So you want the yellow.
The golden retriever's eaten all my paper towels, so I'm gonna pick some up off the ground here. But I'm thinking the sun will be kind of in this area.
Oh,
Okay.
yes, that's reflection.
Reflecting down into that area.
Wow.
Lovely.
All right, let's see what happens when I kind of, you know what, I'm gonna be really naughty real quick. And I'm gonna go ahead and add some, I'm gonna add some blue into the cool areas, maybe a little bit of that transparent yellow. So I'll make it kind of greenish. This part is probably a bad choice, but I think might be kind of fun. So
Ooh, it almost looks like phthalo green.
it does kind of, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let's put a little of that into our sky. And when I go in and wipe all this, you know, around, it's going to turn to brown and, you know, it's going to get muddy. And I know that. That's why I was thinking I'm being a bit naughty, but it'll be, I think it'll be fun. I can also bring some of those blues into the shadows in the foreground area, just to cool this area down. Let's lift it up so you guys can see what I'm doing.
Woo! Wow.
Messy, messy, messy.
Yes. Stop it.
You guys said you're going to help me with my, make me look like a professional and help me with my hygiene.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like a, I don't know, like a movie poster for Good Morning Vietnam or something.
So the underpainting was acrylic. I didn't hear at the beginning.
Yeah, everything that you see that's kind of like a drawing, the trees, the rocks.
Yeah, it's
That
acrylic.
was just burnt umber acrylic painting.
So you did a lot of textural stuff sort of before the painting part, don't you? I mean, that kind of limits then what you were able to do after the fact or not?
Yeah, until I start adding opaque paint. At this point, everything's very transparent. So if I had done a better drawing and refined everything, it might be really great. But my intention is to come back in and actually add, you know, physical, opaque, dense paint and actually, you know, carve these out, you know, bring in grasses, bring in rock structure, put, you know, needles into the trees, all those things. But right now I'm just trying to give it a underpainting that just gives me the sense of where I want my light and how I want my light to be reacting in the scene. Let's Go ahead.
Yeah,
and
I
take-
guess I was thinking there's quite a lot of underpainting there and I was going, that looks like a lot that you have to kind of cover
Yeah,
up.
it kind of is. So now I'm just scrubbing in some warms because I want this light to be catching into the boughs of these trees and the
Yeah, the
needles,
light's gonna be great.
branches. And we'll see. Also on the edge of this rock, edge of this rock. And done. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's see. So I want my sun here. And I want my reflection of the sun here.
I love how it looks through the branches of the tree.
Yes.
Mm.
There's the first little quick pass. And now I'm just gonna
You covered up your reflection there in the middle.
what?
There, now it's back.
I really like the muddy color that you put in.
And isn't it funny, even though everything's become muddy because I've got red, yellow, blue mixed into this, it still feels vibrant because they're all comparing and playing with each other.
Mhm.
Mm.
And they're relating. There's a family, you know what I mean? A harmony, that's the word I was looking for. I hope. But it doesn't always happen like that. It can get pretty toxic. But again, with the transparent colors, unless I was using a phthalo blue or a phthalo green, which is going to overpower everybody else. Okay. Isn't that interesting?
Mm.
That looks very
Yes,
nice.
it's
It's
beautiful.
just, I mean, but that's a nice underpainting, right? Like I'm kind of establishing things and I can keep, I'm just gonna go ahead and wipe this brush. I'm not gonna put it in paint thinner because I do not want more paint thinner on this at this point. So I'm just, you can see how much paint's coming off. So I'm just gonna kind of wipe this clean, or if I was smarter, I'll
Get a
just grab
clean
another brush, which would add to the 27 dirty brushes I already have. And maybe I will. I think there's so much paint coming off. Here we go. Look at this nice, happy guy.
Mm.
Ooh, I have some of them.
That's ready to be
I like
used.
it when, and now it looks like it's angelic, right?
Mm, not for long.
Whoa.
Super brush. Dun, dun, dun. All right, let's see. I'm just gonna smooth that out a little. Take and restructure some of these brush strokes. And now I can take a clean paper towel again. And at this point, just so Cheryl's happy, I'm gonna go ahead and take my paper towel. I'm gonna turn it just a little bit. I'm gonna dip that in just a touch of paint thinner. And I'm gonna dab that onto something else before I hit the painting, so I just don't get big drips. Actually, drips sometimes are helpful because it'll make a straight line. I'm just thinking, you know, our sun, let's just put it here. That'll be cool, right? Look at that.
Oh,
Mm.
perfect.
I'm avoiding the tree a little bit,
Good.
so that it gets that little bit of yellowy, warm, kind of brown light. And I go ahead and do the same thing again, twist it, turn it. This would be a great time for me to pull up a T-square, because one of my biggest mistakes I make is where my reflection of the light is not straight down. So if I know my sun is there, I'm just gonna quickly mark it with a T-square so that I get a straight down line.
Michael, you gave us a film of someone teaching where they used a little tiny plumb line, didn't you?
Maybe.
It might still be on Padlet, but he gave them like a stick for horizontal and angles and a tiny little plumb line.
It doesn't sound like something I would share because that sounds like math. Yes, I have a friend of mine. You guys know Brett in the class, and it's a mutual friend of ours. And he is really infatuated with an artist who unfortunately just passed away, I think, recently, who does a lot of that. And he actually leaves the plumb lines in his paintings. I'll see if I can find out who that is, but it doesn't seem like something I would share. I bet you
I'll
that's,
have to go
that
back
sounds
and
like
look.
that sounds like a Thomas Kitts thing.
It could well be.
Yeah, he's the scientist in the painting world. I'm the happy accidents guy. Sorry, Bob Ross, you stole your
I
line there.
know. He lives on. He lives on.
Does.
We're
Yeah,
seeing-
and that was it. You know, again, growing up watching Bob Ross every once in a while. You know, when I was homesick from school, and I would get to see Bob Ross, and just the joy and the fun of it. You know, that's something. You know, I don't want to paint like Bob Ross. I hope. You know, nothing against his paintings, but it's not what I want to paint. But I do think the joy that he shared and the inquisitiveness.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that that's something that we can all use a little more of in our art. I don't know. You guys have probably had instructors in the past who are so specific and so academic, and you know, again, that works for a lot of people. I've taught a lot of engineers in my time.
Not me.
Not me.
Not me.
It's probably Diane because she's not there right now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, isn't that a nice way to start a painting really quickly that I can, you know, I can come back in and cool down areas. I can say, okay, my sun is here. Maybe I have some wispy clouds and
Hmm.
maybe I can, you know, that
Nice.
catch light, right? So
It is.
where
a
do I
good one.
want those? What angles, what, you know, counter angles, maybe. I don't want them to aim right at my sun probably, so something kind of over the top a little bit. Oh, I just gotta be careful because see what I did there is I mimicked this line.
Yeah.
That's
Mm.
dangerous. It happens all the time to me where all of a sudden, you know, I'm like, oh, I like that line. Let's do a couple more. So got to figure out how do I not have, you know, I just don't want to be copying shapes everywhere. I want them to relate, communicate, and help each other, guiding lines, guiding movement, sexy lines, whatever we want to call it. But I also don't want it to be
Right.
It's glorious.
And again, that's just the underpainting, but that took me, what, 15 minutes? 20 minutes? I don't know.
Not long.
Not long. And if I didn't like it, I could take my brush and cover it again.
Yeah.
My students have seen me do that enough times. But luckily,
Yes.
but I think it's really important just to go, you know, just because I've spent 15, 20 minutes, I've put on paint, this is not the final answer. If it's not working, it's not working. It's better to fix it now
Yeah.
than try to paint my way out of it later.
Now in Maine, they don't have that kind of trees. They have pine trees, big pine trees.
Yeah, and this is much more California. We do have a couple of them up here, which I'm always attracted to. Like I literally like, oh, there's one of those trees, and mark it off on my map to come back and paint. One of my favorite ones fell off the cliff a year or two ago, but I was okay because I had painted it a number of times. But I love this, like, you just see how I put the bright back in, I wipe it back away, I bring it back in. That was so fun.
That's
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah, now I can just come back and reshape, you know, again, there's no information here hardly at all, right? I've just kind of blocked it in. Same with the tree. I mean, if you zoom
Wow.
in, it's actually pretty lousily painted. I just used my daughter's old watercolor brushes. But what I have is an understanding of my big shapes, my lights, my darks, the big forms I want, the movement that I want, because before it was just the darks and the light and the white. But now by having these lines, I can begin to judge or come up with ideas of how I might want this sky to play into the painting, right? As well as the lights in the water, the red of the horizon line, the cools going towards the warms, the slightly darkers going towards the lights. Does that make sense, you guys?
Gosh.
All right, now what did you start with? Just an idea, or
A
did you
wing
start
and a
with
prayer.
reference?
The ability to embarrass myself in front of all my friends.
No.
What?
They do say that's the sign of a strong character, but there was no way you're going to embarrass yourself.
I don't think you've met me very well, but yeah, I
No.
definitely can embarrass myself, my daughter, my wife, my parents.
We'll never know. You cover it very well, Michael. I'm joking.
So
I think it's a duty of a sorry.
that's all right.
I think it's a duty of a parent to embarrass their children. It's very good for them. I do
Yeah.
it to my daughter all the time.
Yes.
So
It's a practice, I shall say.
with all that yellow,
It's
I
just
have trouble
gorgeous.
envisioning the cooler stuff.
Yeah, and that's why I just kind of hinted at it over here and at the top. It'll come in much more. Again, you guys remember the painting I did last Thursday with the big pink, you know, sky.
Yeah.
Oh, it's here in the studio. I was just walking away to go find it. Yeah, this one,
Yeah.
right? And you remember I just hinted at areas. It was just, you know, I covered the whole thing with red, and then I just hinted at where I wanted the cold, where I wanted the warm, darks, lights, and then I will start finessing it and finding those more.
Right, but you're presuming, I assume you're presuming that the yellow, the thin yellow now will be mostly dry by the time you come in with your cooler notes?
Yeah, absolutely. I used, you know, quite a bit of paint thinner. I put the paint on very thin.
No alkyd though, just the Gamsol.
Just a bit of paint thinner. No, alkyd would have probably been a good, smart idea, especially if I wanted to work on it today. But what I'll do, and what I typically do, just so that I'm not a good judge until literally I get some time away from it. So probably tomorrow I will come back, I'll look at it again. And because all the paint's so thin, I'm not married to anything.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that I have good ideas and good structure and everything else, but I can continue to change it tomorrow. So yeah,
Exactly.
There you go. That was my experiment for today's class.
Beautiful.
All right, your experiment, but what did you start with? Just an idea?
Yeah, I'm doing, I've been slowly doing a series of these kind of trees on cliff face.
Okay.
I'm just sort of
Well, what I'm trying to understand is, from a standpoint of putting this together, you have a headland in the distance, I think. Rocks in the mid-ground in there. A rock that's out in the water. I'm trying to just understand.
Yeah, and I kind of want to hint at like a path that you could possibly take to get here. Maybe it starts here, goes off
Okay.
the screen, comes back
All
here.
right.
Rocks, grasses coming over the tops. And then because of this, I'm gonna have backlit. Let me move that up. I could hint at that. I'm picturing like backlit grasses kind of in the foreground here.
Yeah.
Right, a trail again that kind of comes up through here. Possibly we'll see, but even if it's not a trail, I want it to be somewhere that you as a viewer think that you could follow to get to this area.
Mhm.
Well, I'm struggling with composition in general, and I'm just trying to understand where, I want to say where things come from, but that's not quite the right way to put it either.
Right, I think we would all agree that the focal point has become here, right?
Yes.
Right, and now we have this turn, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I also am at least beginning to hint at the clouds doing
Coming
the same
from the
thing,
upper
bringing
left.
it to here, right?
Okay.
It doesn't need to be. If you look at some of my old paintings, I was so obvious. Like when I learned about design, I was like, literally my clouds were almost arrows pointing at things, like, and they were overdone. And then I realized that it can be much more subtle. So then that'd be like the things that are in the shadow areas and here and stuff. Or I don't want them to be strong, and these will be blues and grays and bluey greens, but I still want them doing some of the same things that the clouds are doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing can happen with my surf, right? I'll have some foam down in here, which will probably be, hitting the light, but then as it gets behind the rock, it's going to get bluey, greeny, cool. Same here, but I can use the foam that's hitting down here. See that? See how all of a sudden that just leads us into this?
Mm,
Yeah.
Back and back into this shape.
it's gorgeous.
So everything I'm doing is either in relationship. Again, belladonna, right? The most important character. She is, excuse my language, can really be a bitch, right? If you're not respecting her, then she can tear the whole show apart, right? She knows that she's the belladonna, that she's the most important, and everything else is a supporting character. She knows it. She demands it. The diva of the show, right? And it's possible to have a cast of, like secondary and third characters and then supporting characters. But a lot of times it really is about that diva.
It's just too busy otherwise.
Yeah, it's too busy, right? Yeah. I literally, I've got friends who are just the best storytellers ever. And I look forward to hanging out. I really look forward to going camping and sitting by a campfire. And I want to make sure I sit near them at the end of the evening, because I know they're going to tell really great stories. And I have other friends that really like to talk. And they'll start a story, and midway through, I'm like, I don't even remember what this story was about. I don't think they remember what the story is about. You know what I mean? They're like, I went to Italy and had the best meal ever. And then I met this person, and then we went shopping. And then it was like, wait. What about the first person you met? You know what I mean? The story, what's the main, why did we start this conversation? And so that's it. That's why I think it's really important, like in our homework, you know, where we're drawing arrows, you know, you could see, even though it's very subtle, where I would put arrows.
Yeah,
Even though it's very subtle, where I would put arrows. And again, the movement is this movement,
Yeah.
right? The movement
Yeah.
is this movement.
okay.
Right.
And do me
Even
a
though this
favor
movement
before
goes
you
off,
quit.
Gonna bring it back. What's that?
Do me a favor before you quit. I think it's the angle, but I don't believe your reflection is underneath your sun. I think it's to the left.
And that happens
So
with
put
me
your
all.
T-square up there and look.
Right,
It
that
might
happens
just be
with me
the
all
camera.
the time. Yeah, and that should be like my number 2 rule that I have written on the wall. First one is where's your horizon line? Second one, where's your light source? Third one, I should say, do your reflections line up?
Maybe it does. Maybe it's just the angle. So and that could
The
fix it right
center-
there.
The center lines up, but he has the side pieces don't line up.
Yeah.
So let's figure out where the center of our sun is. And I'm actually gonna use a brush and paint thinner. So I'm gonna say my center of my sun is right here.
Okay.
That got bright. Sorry if my arm. And then, so if that's the center of my sun,
Uh-huh.
a little more paint thinner. So yeah, it probably was off a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Well, you moved your sun around a little bit.
Yeah, it keeps.
And and your horizon line, double check your horizon line.
If it's
And
straight,
then it could be the angle.
it better be straight because I
He's got
used
a
it.
land mass on the right. That's not the horizon.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's the landmass back there.
Yeah, and I think also the angle of the camera and stuff.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, that's always worth checking because that can be a real, especially if you get towards the end of your painting and realize your reflections off, your horizon lines off. That's a lot of remixing all the colors to come back in and.
Mhm. Now, see, you're wiping that in the wrong side again.
What?
Wipe it to your right. Yeah. You've been wiping on the other side and that's what makes it move.
He's dyslexic.
This is a hygiene class.
He's trying to, but it just, he's dyslexic.
Well, I have to go and pick up the kid for her riding lesson. And I will see you guys on Wednesday, and I am gonna go out and paint tomorrow.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah,
And post something you've painted.
Yeah, get a bunch of photos of sunflowers. That's
well,
I'm actually thinking of doing a 24 by 24 of a sunflower for one of my commissions. So
Ooh, okay.
okay,
Force yourself to finish something, or at least put paint on a canvas and post it so it'll make you want to finish it.
yes.
You
It'll
have-
embarrass me if I don't finish it.
No, we'll never know.
no.
We'll never know unless you tell us.
I would
All right.
rather see 2 half-done paintings than 1 finished painting.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Gotta pack up tonight. Get my stuff done. So I will
Bye.
see you guys on Wednesday.
All right. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Good week.
Bye.
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 All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video over here because my camera's already dying. But that was fun. Thank you guys for letting me play with that. And
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Very beautiful.
It's gorgeous,
gosh.
Michael. You really don't
Very
have a
nice.
lot more work to do on it. Just fix the hillside.
now
I
it's
like it.
now it's all the dark stuff basically.
Yeah.
In the foregrounds, and then you can see where I just drew some directional lines in my water and stuff. They wouldn't have strong dark lines like that.
No, but it's beautiful. you've set the base to make it be a success. That's what you
But
do.
it feels much more approachable now.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
See, I
Oh,
think
maybe
when I
I'll
do
one
wipe
more,
away,
then I have another 30 by 40 that needs the same treatment, so maybe I'll do one more.
yeah, when I do wipe aways, I don't think I wipe away enough. I think I don't wipe away enough of the soft color on top. I need to wipe more off. And give myself more highlights and darks and stuff like you just did. So Michael, our homework is to be the same painting, moving things around, or can it be a couple of different things?
Whatever you want, always. I know
Oh.
better than to try to control Linda Camerata.
Oh. Well, it'll give me an excuse to do what I want to do.
Always, yeah.
Okay.
What
And I
kind of-
personally know if I told you, Linda, you have to paint this picture, it would kill you. You would be like, I didn't paint all week because I didn't want to do that one.
I know. Diane, you're a busy girl.
So popular.
She is.
All right,
I
I'm gonna
turned my
stop this.
phone on silent.